It was just another busy Friday afternoon at Bluebell Restaurant in the heart of Maple Ridge, a quiet town in the U.S. The restaurant was buzzing with customers, and most people thought Anita, the manager, ran the place. Little did they know, the real owner was Raymond Jackson, a successful entrepreneur with businesses across the country. Raymond preferred staying behind the scenes, often visiting his restaurants undercover to see how things were really running. That day, Raymond entered Bluebell wearing a simple hoodie and jeans, just like any regular customer. The smell of fresh bread and sizzling steaks filled the air, and everything seemed to be running smoothly. As he walked up to the counter, he saw Anita flipping through receipts, her face tense. "Can I get a table?" Raymond asked casually. Anita barely looked up, giving him a quick once-over. "We're full," she replied, her tone cold. Raymond pointed to several empty tables. "I see a few open over there," he said. "They're reserved," she snapped, turning back to her paperwork. Raymond's patience started to wear thin. "I don't mind waiting," he said calmly. "You won't be seated today," she said flatly, not even meeting his eyes. "Try somewhere else." Something was off. This wasn't just about a full restaurant, this was personal. Raymond could feel the eyes of other customers on him, some uncomfortable, others pretending not to notice. "Are you saying I can't eat here because of how I look?" he asked, trying to get to the bottom of it. Anita finally looked up, her eyes hardening. "People like you don't belong here," she sneered. "Go downtown." Raymond's heart sank. He knew exactly what she meant. He didn't respond, but left quietly, already plotting his next move. This was more than just a rude manager, it was racism, and he couldn't let it slide. The weekend passed, but Raymond couldn't shake the encounter. What if Anita had treated other customers like this? He decided to take action. The following Monday, he called his lawyer, Gregory Pratt, and the restaurant's HR head, Marie Bennett, arranging a meeting to figure out what had been happening behind the scenes. That afternoon, Raymond returned to Bluebell, this time in a suit. He wanted to see if Anita would act differently now that he didn't look like a regular customer. As he entered, heads turned. The waitress, Sandy, greeted him with a bright smile and led him to a table without hesitation. No resistance, no attitude. Raymond noticed Anita in the back, her eyes narrowing as she spotted him. She whispered something to another waitress, then disappeared. Raymond didn't let it bother him. He was here for something bigger. After finishing his meal, Raymond walked up to the counter and asked to speak to the manager. When Anita appeared, her face drained of color, recognizing him immediately. "I think it's time we have a conversation about your behavior last week," Raymond said calmly. Anita froze. "I don't understand," she stammered. Raymond cut her off. "You refused to seat me on Friday. Do you remember?" Her face went pale. She tried to deny it, but the memory of her words was too fresh. "I didn't realize," she stammered, trying to backtrack. Raymond leaned in. "Did you think because I wasn't wearing a suit or because I'm black, I didn't deserve respect?" Anita's face flushed. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Raymond's voice was steady but firm. "Let me make something clear. I own this restaurant, and I've been visiting undercover to see how my staff treats customers." Anita's eyes widened. She stumbled backward, her hands trembling. "You're the owner?" "Yes," Raymond confirmed. "And you've been showing your true colors to the wrong person." The restaurant was silent. Customers and staff alike were watching. Raymond continued, his voice strong. "I've built this business on the belief that everyone deserves respect, no matter their background. But what you did last week goes against everything I stand for. Discrimination of any kind will not be tolerated." Anita tried to speak, but Raymond raised his hand. "You're fired. Pack up your things and leave." The room was thick with tension as Anita stood frozen, but no one came to her defense. Raymond turned to Sandy, the waitress who had treated him kindly. "Sandy, you'll be the acting manager until we find a replacement. Please handle the paperwork." Sandy nodded, surprised but ready to step up. Raymond then addressed the room, his voice clear. "I want to apologize to anyone who's ever felt disrespected here. That's not who we are. This restaurant is for everyone, and we're going to make sure that's reflected in how we treat our customers." The customers began to clap, some even offering words of encouragement. Raymond's decisive action was met with approval, and he could feel the weight lifting off his shoulders. Anita, her head down, quickly gathered her things and left the restaurant without a word. Raymond watched her go, knowing that he had done the right thing. He had built his businesses from the ground up, and he wasn't going to let anyone tarnish his work with prejudice. As Raymond left the restaurant, he felt a sense of justice. The road ahead would be tough, but this was a step in the right direction. His restaurant would now truly be a welcoming place for everyone. Driving off, Raymond couldn't help but smile. Justice had been served.